I was late for a reason. This is the reason. Yes, I know I'm live. Thank you for informing me. Hello, whoever joined. Thank you for joining. Hi. I am good. How are you? Yay, we have people here now. So I decided to be Eva for Halloween. Well, this is like my half costume. You look like a TikTok video. I know, it's vertical right now. Hopefully next time it will not be vertical. Hello. Hello, Philip. Hello, hello. Oh, yay, we have people here. Hello. Happy Halloween. Yes, next time my live will not look like a TikTok video. I apologize about that. But we should have fun tonight. Hi, Chris. How are you? We'll wait a second and then we'll get started. I don't have too much... Good day, peeps. Hello. I don't have too many things planned. I just thought we would have fun. Hello, Morris. Hi, Stephen. Stefan. Stephen? Stefan? Hello. Yes, please hit the like button. Happy Halloween. I guess Halloween is tomorrow. Bryce, thank you very much. I'm my cat, although my cat is a lot meaner than I am. Hold on, let me see if I can find her. Wait. Eva, I'm you for Halloween. Where is she? Hold on. Hello. Okay, this is Eva. This is who I am for Halloween. Eva, say hello. Oh. Look at the camera. This is Eva. She weighs as much as I do, and I decided to be her for Halloween. Is the cat in costume? No, she just looks like this. Eva, say hello. Say hello. Okay, bye. Ow, ow, ow. She's very sharp. Looks like my aunt's cat, Mouse. Okay, cool. I think we have enough people here. You guys are cute. Thank you. Hey, Sarah. Eva looks absolutely thrilled. Yes, my cat has, excuse my language, my cat has resting bitch face. I don't know if you've heard of that. My cat has it. She always looks like she's very angry. Even when she's happy, she looks like she's mad. That's Eva for you. Okay, cool. I think we have enough people here. Guys, why do I keep disconnecting? Buffering? Okay, am I back? I don't know why it just did that. I think I'm back. Am I back? I think I am. Okay. Let's continue. Hi, Sarah. Okay, I'm back. That's good. I'm good now. I hope that doesn't happen again. I don't want to breathe or touch anything. Siri, I'm not talking to you. I can see you now. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get started. I didn't put anything in the headline, but if you want to hang out and chat, let's hang out and chat. There's a few news stories. Yes, I'm back. Phew. I know that stressed me out. The last time that happened, it wasn't good. I never saw you guys again. I had to start. I can't itch my nose. I had to start a new live. So, several things happened over the weekend. Right now, I'm staying in Virginia, and I have, if you guys want, I have a few news stories to go through, and then I have ghost stories for you. We can read through a few of them, and then I have some of my own, if that's what you would like to do. If not, then let me know. But I thought that would be fun in light of Halloween. My friend is back. Are you talking to me or someone else? Sometimes I get in on the chat at a... Okay, sounds fun. Cool. I like that. Sometimes I get in on the chat at weird times and I respond and I don't know what you're talking about. And then I have a very inappropriate response. Yes, Sarah, okay, cool, we'll do horror stories. But first, last night, I didn't make a video last night or yesterday, but I was paying attention to the news all day. So I'm staying here in Virginia, and we've talked about it a few times, but there's a huge gubernatorial race. By the way, it's gubernatorial. It's not gubernational. I called it gubernational in a video that I made a few months back. That is not what it is. It's gubernatorial. So now we all know, or now at least I know. Anyway, there's a huge gubernatorial race coming up between Glenn Youngkin, who is the Republican in Virginia, and Terry McAuliffe, who is the Democrat running. And for the past 5 years, Virginia used to be kind of a swing state. And I want to say back in the day, it was a Republican state. But for the past few years, thank you so much. Who is that? Day? That's really sweet. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I like all the emojis. I was feeling that Terry may cheat. Oh, Stefan. I don't want to say cheat. I don't know what you call this. Okay, so there's this huge race going on in Virginia, and for the past 5 years, 5 or so years, Virginia has been a very blue state, which historically it's either been swing or I even want to say Republican. Actually, Richmond, Virginia was the capital of the Confederacy. Not that the Confederacy has anything to do with being a Republican, but I think it's one of the more blue states in the South as of the past 5 years. So this race is a really big deal because it's very close. It could possibly flip red or flip back red, depending on history. But there have been some recent polls that put Glenn Youngkin, who's the Republican candidate, ahead of Terry McAuliffe, which is a huge surprise to a lot of people. And a lot of the reasons for this, Confederacy was always Democrat. Thank you for pointing that out. I wanted to say that, but I didn't. I know that you're right. The Confederacy is historically Democrat, which a lot of people say it's Republican. The reason I brought that up is because a lot of people think of that and automatically think of Virginia as a Republican state, and since it's in the South, but it's not. It's pretty blue. I will say this. When you're, if you're around where I live, it is red country. It's very Republican, but when you go, obviously, Northern Virginia is very blue, and then everywhere around Richmond, or Richmond itself, I would say is pretty blue. You have VCU there, that's Virginia Commonwealth University, which is a very liberal university. Are they doing mail-in ballot in Virginia? I don't know, but I would say I think most people that I know of are going to vote in person. I can't vote in Virginia because I'm still a California resident, so I'm unable to vote, but most of the people that I know are going in and voting in person. So there's that. But what happened yesterday, so this picture popped up. Let me see if I can show it to you. We're going to do I'll just read you this story. Okay. So this picture popped up. I'm going to show it to you in my super high-tech way. I promise my tech will get better, but can you see it? So here's the picture right there. So you see there's about 4 or 5, there's 5 individuals, and they are posing in front of a Glenn Youngkin campaign truck. And they are posing as white supreme sandwiches, complete with tiki torches. By the way, it's raining. So let me just read you the story and talk about how this happened. So this was supposed to be, oh my gosh, Glenn Youngkin supporters are white supreme sandwiches. See, if you vote for him, you're voting for the supreme sandwich or whatever it is that they're saying. So let me just read to you what happened. Anyway, this picture came out. It started going viral. Yes, Tiki Gate, we're getting there. It started going viral, and then people were like, wait a second. That person looks familiar. Oh, and then that person looks familiar. So come to find, all of these individuals that were posing as the supreme sandwiches to make the Glenn Youngkin campaign look bad were in fact members of the Democratic Party of Virginia. So let's get into it. So people were calling him Terry Smollett, Terry McAuliffe. That's who's running against Glenn Youngkin. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. This is out of control. Okay, so we'll do a few of these news stories and then we'll get into ghost stories because that's my favorite. And I'll tell you my personal ghost story. Okay, so this is out of propaganda. Yeah, man. Oh, also, do you like I'm very Halloween today. I had this the last live stream too. Okay. Oh, also, this had to do with the Lincoln Project. If you guys know anything about the Lincoln Project, happy Saturday, Sarah. Thank you so much. Charlottesville 2.0. Yes, skull glass. Yes, my skull glass. Okay. Lincoln Project members pose as white supreme sandwiches at Virginia GOP event. Yay. I guess this does go in line with Halloween, right? Because they're dressing up as something that they're not. Glow in the dark. I don't know if it's glow in the dark, but you can see it has sort of a hue. The Lincoln Project has confirmed it was behind a political stunt in which 5 members posed as white supreme sandwiches carrying tiki torches at a campaign stop for Glenn Youngkin, the Republican candidate for governor in Virginia, in Charlottesville ahead of election day next week. Oh, this was in Charlottesville? I didn't know that this incident was in Charlottesville. So the Lincoln Project basically admitted that they were behind this. Members of the anti-Trump Republican group stood in front of Youngkin's campaign bus on Friday wearing white shirts, khaki pants, and sunglasses. They were attempting to evoke an infamous far-right torch-lit march at the University of Virginia in August 2017. Oh, okay, so that's what they were doing. Daybreak, Youngkin bus had just pulled up. A day before a self-described neo-Nazi Okay, so they are, I guess, reenacting what happened back in Charlottesville in 2017. We all know what happened. Hi, James. How are you? Okay, days ahead of a polling day. So now we're back in the normal times. Days ahead of the polling day in a state where Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 10 points last year, McAuliffe and Youngkin are neck and neck. Well, they are neck and neck technically, but also a lot of polls are showing, I mean, they're still neck and neck, but a lot of polls are showing that Youngkin is ahead of McAuliffe. Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Barack Obama, and other senior Democrats had turned out for McAuliffe, fearing defeat might foreshadow reverses in the next year's midterm elections. So they pulled out all the stops. We had Obama here, Kamala Harris here, Biden here, all trying to campaign for McAuliffe. In comments to NBC 29 after the incident but before the Lincoln Project claimed responsibility, Youngkin said he thought his opponent, Terry McAuliffe, a former Virginia governor seeking to return to the role, had sent the men. So before we knew, Youngkin was already suspicious that Terry McAuliffe sent these people. He went on to say they'll do anything to win. And he's doing anything to win and paying people to show up and act silly at our rallies. McAuliffe disavowed the Lincoln Project's actions. What happened today in Charlottesville is disgusting and distasteful, and the McAuliffe campaign condemns in the strongest terms, the Democrat campaign manager said in a tweet. Those involved should immediately apologize. Yes, they should. The Lincoln Project said the demonstration... Oh. I'm sorry. The Lincoln Project said The demonstration was our way of reminding Virginians what happened in Charlottesville 4 years ago. The Republican Party's embrace of those values and Glenn Youngkin's failure to condemn it. So they took ownership of this publicly, and they're like, yeah, we did it. We did it to remind you. I don't think that was a good look. And I'm wondering if they said that after everyone called out that these were actually people that worked for the Democratic Party. And by the way, there were a few of these people that were called out, because I follow some of the journalists that were calling them out online, and they would put the pieces of the puzzle together, and they would find these people like on Twitter. Thank you so much, Lance. Please give this to Eva as reparations for your appropriation of her culture. Eva, are you offended? She did look offended, didn't she? I'm appropriating cat culture. There's no fun in anything anymore. The left uses many tactics. Yes, I agree. They thought they could pull it off and got busted. Yes, time for new system. I think that's what your name is. Yes, I think that's exactly what happened. I think they got called out and they got busted because a lot of people started figuring out who these individuals were. And all of them, happy Halloween. All of them, if you go on their Twitter accounts, they're like, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Virginia Democrats. So they all clearly work for the Democratic Party. And I think this was the Lincoln Project being like, oh crap, we got busted. What can we say? Quick, you guys. Don't look suspicious. Cover something up. The group also said it meant to highlight Trump's famous refusal to condemn marchers in 2017, including his remark that there were very good people, very fine people on both sides of the rally. And you guys, so they were referring to, hi Marcia, happy Halloween. So they're referring to, when they refer to Trump's refusal to condemn these people, that is completely false. That is 1000% a lie. And when I had my walk away moments, this is one of the things that made me walk away from the Democratic Party, because they would put these things out about Trump. They would take like a 30-second clip from a speech that he gave, and then they would blast that everywhere and be like, look, he's a terrible person. So I would go pursue the entire speech or the entire clip and find out, oh, they lied. And that's exactly what they did. So what the Lincoln Project is referring to as their justification for pulling this stunt is a lie. So their justification is a lie, and it's a lie that's been debunked. I don't know how many times. All you have to do is go and pursue the full speech that Trump gave after Charlottesville, and you will see that he did not say this. He said he condemned the Supreme sandwiches. He condemned the far-right people. He condemned all of the bad actors, but he also pointed out there were people on both sides of the protest that didn't mean to do bad things. And he was absolutely right. So that what they tried to frame him as with this speech was completely false. It was a huge lie. And that's one of the things that made me walk away from that party, because I realized, oh my gosh, they're lying about this person. I have seen the full speech. You are correct. Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you look at the full speech, they totally misconstrued what he said. It was actually a really nice speech. Earl of Sandwich. Youngkin, the group said, wanted Virginians to forget that he is Donald Trump's candidate. Glenn Youngkin has said, President Trump represents so much of why I am running. Youngkin proves it every day by trying to divide Virginians using racial code words like CRT and supporting ban on teaching the works of America's only Black Nobel. I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, that was a reference to attempts involving Republican operatives to remove Beloved, Toni Morrison's classic novel of slavery in the American South and Virginia schools. Okay, I don't really know about that. If you know about that, let me know. But I will say this, this is a common argument by people that are trying to teach CRT in schools. What they're saying is, we're just teaching history. We're just teaching, you know, the ugly parts of history, not just the good parts of the history. And, you know, kids need to know about slavery and this and that. And Beloved, the book, I don't know a whole lot about that. Maybe it's not age appropriate. Maybe there's certain things, I don't know, but there's a lot of other works in the schools that teach about this stuff. I went to public school in Georgia, and we learned all about the civil rights movement. We learned about slavery. We learned about Jim Crow, all of that. Not only did we learn about it, but that history was all around us everywhere. And we learned about the good parts, the bad parts, all of it. So that's sort of a false argument that they make to make it seem like if you're opposed to CRT, you're opposed to teaching history and teaching the uncomfortable parts of the history. No, and I do think you should teach those things, but also do it at a grade appropriate level. I mean, we started learning about it in elementary school, but obviously the older we got, the more in depth we went as to what these things are. Yeah, okay, so someone just said a CRT quote is to, if you are, and basically CRT is they teach you if you have one skin color, you are inherently oppressed, and the system is built against you. Frank, thank you so much. God bless Sarah and all Sarah's viewers. That is so sweet, Frank. Thank you very much. So CRT says if you are one skin color, you are inherently oppressed. The system is built against you. And if you are another skin color, you are inherently a oppressor. And you benefit from these privileges that you have no control over. In my opinion, it's no matter which side of the spectrum you're on, it's soul crushing, whether you're taught that you are oppressed or you're taught that you are oppressor. And they also put in what somebody just said, that in the talks of CRT, the people that push CRT, to be an anti-racist, you also have to be anti-capitalist. So they teach you that our whole system is bad. And that has nothing to do with history. They teach you to view everything through the lens of race, and that has nothing to do with history. So this isn't about history at all. The quote is from CRT professor Ibram X. Kendi. Yes, and something interesting actually happened with Ibram X. Kendi today. He put a tweet out, and I don't know when the tweet came out, but it basically, his tweet said that there were a lot of white students that were pretending to be minorities to get into universities, and that most of these students, when they pretended to be a minority, they actually got into the university. And Ibram X. Kendi sent out this tweet and quickly deleted it when he realized he kind of put his foot in his own mouth. He kind of disproved his own point that he was trying to make, saying that minorities don't get things easier than other races, which it's one of those things where it depends on where you are. I actually in Hollywood, if you ask any actor in Hollywood, they're all aware of this. So in Hollywood, there is this really big diversity push, and it's been around for a few years now, and I think it started happening probably even before Trump, but everyone knows about it. And I've had acting teachers in some of my acting classes tell, like, if we had a girl in the class that was darker complected, they would actually recommend that that individual change their last name to sound more Hispanic in order to have a better shot at getting roles, because there was such a diversity push in Hollywood, and there were so many actors. Most of the actors there were white, and when there's such a huge diversity push, that you get what I'm saying. But anyway, it happens. It does happen. Let's continue with this story. Interesting story too, that acting school that I went to that was telling people that, there was actually a clip. If you look up, maybe I'll look it up right now while we're here. Leslie Kahn apologize. I'm going to pull this story up for you right now. So the same acting school I went to that was telling certain girls if they were complaining about not getting parts, somebody leaked, oh shoot, where is it? Leslie Kahn, apologize. Somebody leaked a videotape of the head teacher in this acting school telling girls to pretend to be Hispanic. See if I can find it. Yep, here it is in Deadline. Okay, it's pulling up, so I'll get back to that in just a second. So what they were doing is, if you can get away with looking, okay, so acting coach Leslie Kahn apologizes for telling student to pose as Latina. Famed acting coach Leslie Kahn Am I back? Okay, I don't know. The internet gremlins are at it again. I'm back. Okay. So this was the acting school that I actually went to in Hollywood for a while, and then I quit going to acting school. I haven't been back in a long time because I think they take your money. So it says, famed acting coach, and this is in response to this big diversity push that was in Hollywood for some time. Famed acting coach Leslie Kahn has apologized for telling a non-Hispanic student that she would have a better chance of landing an agent and booking a series if she pretended to be Latina. An audio tape has surfaced in which Kahn even suggested that the aspiring actress change her last name to Rosa Ramirez and get headshots that further advance the ethnic deception. Kahn has an apology posted. The tape began with Kahn telling a class of acting students that the young women should come with a Hispanic name. That will absolutely convince people that you're Latin. Okay, the students laugh. Okay. Any other ideas? Kahn asked the students. Fernandez? I can't be the first person that suggested this. The young actress responded, yeah, you are. I get ethnically ambiguous all the time. I took a 23andMe, and I'm 100% Ashkenazi Jewish, so she's Jewish. But yeah, no one's ever told me to change my name. I 100% thought you were Latin when you came in. Another student yells at the young actress. Yeah, I get that. I'm Armenian, she said. So this happens sometimes. Well, this is happening because there was a time, and there were certain agents that basically had posted, like, if you were white, they were not going to take you. You needed to be a minority or this or that, but they would not take you. Oh gosh, okay, it gets worse. So Kahn, the teacher, goes on to say, F the Armenian, that's not going to help you. The Latin could actually get you interviews for representation. Not just the fact that your name is Rosa Ramirez is going to get you a meeting, so you might try it. Go to the headshot shop and tell them you're Latin, wear something effing red, wear some effing sparkly earrings, change your GD name, and let's do an experiment. You know what I mean? Just effing come up with the most Latin name you can come up with. And I mean, I don't know what we're going to do if they ask you if it's really Latin. I don't know how we're going to handle that. Maybe no one will ask. Aren't we allowed to change our names to whatever we want and change our names whatever we want to? And she already looks it, so stop admitting to be a huge Jew. Oh, God. Sorry. That's not going to help you. Speaking as one, it's not going to help. Wow. So just keep us posted. You know, the saga of Rosa Ramirez. So this is what was being told to an acting student in an acting class. And this was the acting school that I used to go to. When did this come out? Now, let me tell you, like, this particular acting coach, she's very brash. A lot of people don't like her. I liked her before. I mean, I didn't know when this came out, but I've actually heard this by different acting teachers. before, telling students that could maybe get away with being a different ethnicity that they should do this. Yeah, and some people don't understand. Okay, at least the teacher was honest. It's not her fault how messed up the industry is. Bryce, thank you for pointing that out. So that was actually my defense of Leslie Kahn. And I stopped going to this studio probably a year before this audio tape came out. And I actually heard this from a teacher in her studio, from a different teacher, trying to help a girl, because there was a girl in our class and she was like, I can't get an audition. I can't get a meeting. Really talented girl. And so they were coming up with all these ways where she might change some of her circumstances or change her chances. And this is what happens as a result. So somebody secretly taped Leslie. This video or this audio clip came out. People were outraged. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so messed up. And I get how on the surface, if you don't understand the inner workings of things, how you could listen to that and think that it's really messed up. But I think it was Bryce that just said that. Bryce is saying this is a result of the industry and what they're doing, and it kind of is. This is one of those unintended consequences of being so hyper-focused on race and hiring people based on race and having this huge diversity push, which is what they were doing. And the issue with that is, the reason it makes things wonky is because most of the actors, and I'm just going to tell, I was in almost every acting class at least once. Most of the actors that moved to LA, they just happen to be white. I don't know why, but that's why you see mostly people of that, you know, skin color in the movies and things like that. They just happen to be, I don't know why. I can't tell you that. And that's what's so silly when they do these diversity pushes on this level, because if you really want to do a diversity push, if you really want, because the people that live in Los Angeles, whether it's actors, no matter what race you are probably the privileged of the privileged. If you have enough money to move to LA, to take acting classes and to go get headshots and to go audition. I was a little bit older and I had a boyfriend at the time. That's how I afforded it. But you are the most privileged of the privileged to be able to do that. So when they do these diversity pushes, they're doing them amongst the most privileged of the privileged, and they're giving a very small pot of people a lot of opportunity. So, and there were, I don't know how it is now because I have an agent. I haven't tried to get an agent anytime soon. But there was a time where you look, I remember like looking for an agent. I'm like, oh, I can't do that because I'm white. I can't do that because I'm white. Because they were like, we don't want any more white people. We have enough of that. We need, if you're this or that or this, we want you. And somebody said, so somebody left a comment on this article and they said, actually, Latinos are only 2% of the working actors in SAG-AFTRA. Less you're a Latino woman, and no Latina has ever won Best Actress. Good luck with this moronic R-word strategy. See, this person that left this comment does not understand why they're telling her to do this. And I'm not saying I agree with them telling someone to pretend like you're a different ethnicity, but there's a reason why they were doing that, and I understand why they were trying to help these actors get a chance. It's already impossible, and now everyone is hyper-focused on skin color. Super chat is not working. Did they demonetize? Let's see. No. They're trying to say Alec was a setup. I think it's working. Anyway, enough about Leslie Kahn. But that, I mean, that's just something that happens. I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it or anything. I'm just saying, like, that is something that happened. Of course, they'll say that. They say if anything gets ahead. Oh, it does work. Happy Halloween. I think it's working. Oh, thank you, Bryce. I was going to say, did they shut it off halfway through? No way. Thank you, Bryce. It's working. Let's do ghost stories. How about that? Wait, let's do Alec Baldwin really, really fast. I promise. I'm not going to talk about him for long, and then we'll do ghost stories. It was a little late. There you go. Good one, Bryce. Yeah, thank you. I was like, I don't think it stopped working. Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the unintended consequences, and why, like, I just feel like anytime you focus on anything other than a meritocracy, it always creates unintended problems that you don't foresee. Because I'll admit, if I just heard that recording and I didn't know anything about the industry or what's going on, I would be like, whoa, that's weird. That's pretty messed up. Okay, so Alec Baldwin finally, so he was spotted in Vermont. He's been hiding out there with his wife. And this is what he said. So Alec Baldwin snapped at reporters on Saturday, today, who were following him around in Manchester, Vermont. As he said, he and his family have tried to lay low ever since Helena Hutchins happened. And he said, let's go. What do you want? All right, Alec, what's the current state of what's going on with the case? And Alec said, I'm not allowed to make any comments because it's an ongoing investigation. I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation in terms of a woman has passed away. She was my friend. He also said, the day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner with Joel, the director. So basically what he said, him and his wife were on camera, and basically what Alec Baldwin was saying is this was a tragic accident, and it's horrible that this happened, but it's a very tragic tragedy, and it was an accident. And that's basically all he said. Alec and Hilaria, so that's Alec Baldwin's wife, said they stopped to talk to reporters because reporters were following them and their children were crying in the car. They asked that the reporters stop following them to give them some privacy. Here, I can actually play you the audio, I think.
Let's go. I will.
Can you hear it?
You want to know? All right, Alec, what's the current state? I'm not allowed to make any comments. And I'm ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I
can't. I couldn't see your whole. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. He said his wife had a fake Spanish accent. Yes, she did a little while.
Active investigation in terms of my friend. The day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner with Joel, the director. Very,
It's buffering. Alec Baldwin is talking to the camera, and Hilaria comes up behind him, and he goes, "Excuse me." And she's pretty hostile to the reporters. This is my wife, Hilaria, and my daughter. Yeah, damn internet. Video's so choppy. I'll catch you next time. Is it really choppy? I can't tell on my end. Every day it's... Is it really? I can't see anything on my end. Here and there. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's okay on my end. Stop using telegraph lines for the internet. Not horrible, occasionally spotty. It's not that bad. Little bit. It gets bad when you're showing other video. Oh, okay. I'll stop doing that. I swear I'm only going to be here for, I think, 2 more months. And then I'll be back in civilization again. I promise. Yeah, maybe too many devices. Sarah, you have 2 different live chat notices. I don't know. Let's just do ghost stories. Virginia is for lovers. Happy Halloween. Unfortunately, but I'm sticking around. I don't know. Well, thank you guys for hanging out, even though my quality stinks. Sarah's a tech boomer. Yes, I am. Okay, let's do ghost stories. First, I'm my cat, Eva. Okay, ghost stories. First, I will tell you my ghost story, and then I'm only seeing one notification. No, they're not graphic. I'll tell you, my ghost story is actually kind of sweet. But this is the one time. No, I have the Washington Post 12 chilling travel tales. Those are some of my favorite, but I'll tell you personal ones. I have 2 of them before, and then we'll do that. I love it. They're just little short stories. The Conjuring. Have I seen The Conjuring? I don't remember. Ghostbusters. That's in the theater right now. Okay, so my ghost story. My dad passed away about 8 years ago, and I was in my early 20s when my dad passed away. He was living in Pennsylvania. So this is my ghost story, and I don't know if it's a ghost story, but it's one of those things that I still, till this day, cannot explain what happened. There's just no explanation. I have gone over this in my head 1,025 times, at least. Maybe I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but I've gone over this in my head so many times, cannot figure it out. No, I didn't see him, but I'll tell you what happened. So my dad passed away. He was living in Pennsylvania at the time. I was living in Denver, Colorado. I had just moved to Denver, Colorado. I had just gotten settled in my new place, and I'm looking for jobs. I just did a bunch of interviews for jobs. It was a Saturday morning. And by the way, like, my dad and I's relationship, it wasn't that great. He was just a little mentally, like, there was something a little off about him. My parents got divorced when I was really young. And I kept a relationship with him, but didn't really talk to him probably about 5 or 6 years before he died. We just didn't have a relationship. We were not in communication. Everything was fine. He was just a little off. He wasn't the same dad I grew up with. So anyway, fast forward, I'm in Denver, Colorado. It's Saturday. Is this true? Yes, this is a true story. It's Saturday. I'm waking up to make pancakes. I get a phone call. It's my sister, Sarah, dad's in the hospital, and he's passing away. Anyway, I go be with him while he's passing away. Come to find he had cancer, and stage 4 cancer, and he had a very short time to live, and then like started to get too graphic, like his colon burst or whatever when he was in the hospital. Well, this is depressing. I swear it's not depressing. But all these things happened to him when he was in the hospital. So it went from him getting ready to start chemo to he only has a few days to live. So my sister and I, we flew out. We were with him before he passed. He ended up passing while we were there a few days later. And after he passed, I went to his home and just collected some like sentimental items that I wanted to keep. So I grabbed a bunch of things that I took home with me to Denver to keep of his before we arranged all the major stuff. So anyway, one of the things that I brought home was this old pair of like dusty glasses, and I don't even know why I picked them up. I don't even think he wore them, but I put them in a junk basket that I had in our kitchen. And for a year, so fast forward another year after my dad passed away, these glasses were still in the bottom of this junk basket. I had never touched them. They have never moved. They were at the bottom of the basket at this point. And this was in my kitchen. So it was a year after my dad passed away. My boyfriend who I was living with at the time went out of town on a work trip. And whenever he went out of town, I would get really scared because we lived in a really old house. And I would always sleep on the couch. I wouldn't sleep upstairs in my room. So I spent the night on the couch downstairs and woke up one morning while he was away. I woke up to make breakfast, so I went in the kitchen and started making eggs, and I looked on the counter, and my dad's glasses that were at the bottom of this junk basket for a year were now about 10 inches away from the basket, opened and turned upside down onto the counter. And if you knew how this basket was, it was just one of those things that was totally impossible. And the night before I watched one of his videos. There's videos of him playing the guitar that he left. So I was watching one of those and I had a bit of a cry. But it's one of those things that I still to this day cannot explain. So the glasses, the night before, they were where they had always been for a year, not touched. And there were things piled on top of the glasses. It's not like they just fell out. Yeah, so they didn't fall out. There was no way they came out. And I even tested it. Even if they did fall out of the basket, there was no way they would be opened upside down. And I knew they weren't there the night before, but even still, I'm like, am I crazy? Like, did my boyfriend maybe like take them out? He didn't touch them. So that was my ghost story. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it seems like it doesn't seem that bad when you talk about it. Oh, glasses move. That's not that big of a deal. But if you knew where they were and how this all happened, it's pretty crazy. Number one, a ghost. You sleptwalk and played with them in your sleep. Yes. So that was, yeah. So I've heard a few times that I was sleepwalking and did something in my sleep. I have never, ever sleptwalked. I've lived with people my whole life. I've never lived on my own. I have never sleptwalked. And I've never, how do you say it? I've never have sleepwalked. I've never sleptwalked. I have never done that in my whole life. And if I did, why would I go after these glasses at the bottom? I forgot they were even there. So I don't know. How about drunk as F walked? Nope, wasn't drinking that night. Sleepwalk, LOL. I know that's whatever. I know it's not much or awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Chris. That's really, really sweet. I appreciate that. That's a cool story, Sarah. Yeah, and that's what my boyfriend at the time kept telling me. I was sleepwalking, and I'm like, you've never seen me sleepwalk. When have I ever walked in my sleep? But anyway, maybe I did. I don't know, but I haven't figured it out yet. Now we have other ghost stories. Well, there's another story too, actually. This is from Georgia. So there is an urban legend in Georgia. There's a hill, and you can look it up on the internet. It's a gravity hill. It's called Booger Hill. And this was an area in Georgia where bad things happened back in the day in the South. You can imagine what that was. And so this area called Booger Hill, it's actually a gravity hill. And I think this has a geographic explanation or something. But in high school, the urban legend was if you park your car at the bottom of the hill and put baby powder on the back, like on the bumper, and put your car in neutral, your car will be pushed up the hill and you'll see handprints on the back of the car. So I did this when I was in high school. I never saw the handprints. I don't think we did the baby powder. We didn't do that, but we did park at the bottom of the hill and put it in neutral, and the car did go up the hill. And of course, in high school, we were saying that this was, these were ghosts and stuff like that, but I think there's actually a geographical explanation for that. But it's called a gravity hill. Look them up. There's lots of urban legends about them. Okay, let's read ghost stories. Nope, run away. LOL, great name, Booger Hill. Yeah, I don't know where that came, but that's what it's called, Booger Hill. I think it's in Cummings, Georgia. Oh, speaking of Georgia, okay, I once had a dream about Hillary Clinton. That's my ghost story. I think that's enough to scare anyone. That's a pretty scary ghost story. Okay, I have one about, since we're talking about Georgia. So here's a travel ghost story from Georgia. So several years ago, I rented a beach house in St. Simon Island, Georgia. The bedroom I stayed in was the entire fourth floor of the tall, narrow house. It had recently been renovated, but the owners indicated that it was one of the older homes on the beach. And as a homage to the family, they purchased it from and they make an effort in their renovations to stay true to the original character. Okay, so to be respectful of the original owners, they decided that their renovations would stay similar to the original character. Near midnight, on my second night there, I'd gone out on this small balcony to admire the moon, and when I came back inside the fully lit room, there was standing just outside the bathroom door was a very old woman dressed in a long night white gown. Her white hair pinned up neatly at the high of her collar gown buttoned to her throat. I startled, of course, but immediately made the assumption that she was a resident of a nearby house who, perhaps because of her advanced age, had mistaken my house for her own rental. I took one step toward her, intending to try to help her find her way home, and she reached out her left hand to me, smiled slightly, and was just gone. She was so absolutely vivid, I can still remember the ropey blue veins in her hand as she reached out, the slight tremble of her fingers, the one lock of hair that had escaped from her updo, the texture of her white nightgown, the eyelids that drooped a bit over her eyes, the wrinkles in her face and the folds in her neck. She was absolutely there, only she wasn't. Ooh, Missing 411, The Hunted. That's a really good show. Oh, you want to talk about creepy stories? Missing 411 just sounds like incompetence. So Missing 411, I watched this documentary. It was actually, when I watched it, it was free on YouTube. I don't know if it still is, but you can find it basically on any streaming service. And it's about an unusual amount of people, especially children, that go missing in national parks. And what's alarming about this, and it's like, and the way they described a lot of these cases, there are all these cases where people just vanish out of thin air. It really feels like they just vanish out of thin air and there's no evidence. And then they find them. Yes, it's still free last time I checked. Okay, so Missing 411 is free on YouTube if you want to watch that documentary. If you want to see something really creepy, I hope it's on YouTube. I don't have anything else. Chris, I think it is. I think it's free on YouTube still. Someone just said that. Alien abductions or government abductions. Okay, so that's what it is. So there's an alarming amount of missing or people that go missing on in national parks. And there's no record of this. So whatever the National Park Association, I don't know what the name of it is, they do not keep a record of how many people go missing in their parks. So there's no way to actually track this stuff. And what's really interesting too about the Gabby Petito case is that while they were looking for her, how many people did they find that were missing? They found like 8 or 9 people while they were looking for her. And that sort of goes into this whole thing about why does this happen so much on national parks? And why do they not keep a record of this stuff? So a lot of people have a lot of different theories as to why this happens. And some people theorize that there's a reason why these are national parks. And they also point out, the national parks that you and I know of, at least it was like 8 to 10 people. Okay, so it was 8 to 10 people that they found while looking for Gabby Petito, the national parks killer. Honestly, this is a huge reason I gave up camping. So many campers go missing. Yeah, and if you watch that documentary, they give some really creepy stories. But another theory was, so if you think about the national parks that you and I know of off the top of your head, they're typically like really beautiful pieces of land. But there's a lot of national parks also, or places that are national parks that aren't really that attractive. And people can't really come up with why these might be national parks. So one of the conspiracy theories is that these national parks are actually areas that have a lot of maybe alien activity, and the government zoned them off to be able to protect them and to be able to keep these things secret. So some people have that theory as to why we have national parks and why we don't report the number of people that go missing and stuff like that. So there's that. I didn't watch that one about the kids, just the adults. I listened to the Coast to Coast AM podcast with the author, Lock and Load. Oh, okay. So I haven't, what's the name of the podcast again? Coast to Coast? missing. The one I watched it was a lot of kids that went missing and they literally just vanished. And then sometimes they would find the kids like very far away from where they went missing and just peculiar circumstances. And a lot of people say Coast to Coast AM. So Coast to Coast AM is the podcast. But it would be like they would disappear out of thin air and then they start backtracking, and a lot of people would say, oh, it could be a wild animal or stuff like that, but when you look at the evidence, it doesn't seem to be the case a lot. I'm trying to find information about this. Here's a funny story. Hold on. I don't know if I take this. Gabby Petito, one of 3 people missing near Grand Teton Park this summer. Yeah, so this happens a lot. According to Outside, I don't know what these sources are. I don't know. Kelly said I snuck up on you. Hi, Kelly. We've been here for a minute. We're just talking about weird ghost stories and missing people. Okay, this is super random. This is clearly not this. I don't know what news source this is. Remember a lot of crazy reports from the Bermuda Triangle? Yes. Bermuda Triangle. That's why I love the movie, I love the movie Hotel Transylvania. Am I frozen again? Hi. Oh, it's a candle. I'm just going to stop looking at stuff online. I have a candle behind me. Let's go, Brandon. Hey. Hey says, let's go, Brandon. Gabby was killed intentionally by Brian. I still haven't seen Hotel Transylvania. So the whole Hotel Transylvania, it's one of the sequels. It's the Vacation Hotel Transylvania, and they take a cruise to the Bermuda Triangle. And they cruise to the Bermuda Triangle on the Titanic. Who killed Brian? I think he unalived himself is what I think. I don't know. I don't know if, someone was talking about the thing with Gabby and Brian. It could have been a heat of the moment argument thing, and then maybe he was like, oh crap, I can't believe I did this. Yeah, I think he did it himself. He unalived himself. How am I now? Am I still frozen? I don't know what, it's been doing this all night. Okay. I'm not gonna mess with any of my other devices. Someone just said no. No to what? We're good. Spooky. Okay. It is a candle behind me. I'm not being spooky. I always have candles. Yeah, but I mean, I still want to know, and Kelly, you brought this up. I still want to know what happened with the 2 ladies Okay, cool. I want to know what happened with the two ladies that were offed. Remember, it happened right around Gabby. The two ladies that passed away or were murdered. I don't know what happened. But I would like to know what happened with them. And Gabby was found in a national park, correct? Peace and love from Canada. Hi, Van Allen. Canada. Yes, the two girlfriends. We still don't know what happened with them. Right, she was. They must have been conservative. Yes, that was also a tragedy. But that's one thing, maybe this story will put light on stuff that goes down in national parks. That's why I'm afraid to camp. I haven't been camping in a long time. I used to go camping a lot in Colorado. Haven't been in a while. Apparently, that is a dangerous place. It shouldn't be. Okay, so I never go camping without weapons. Yeah, I used to love camping, not anymore, too risky. Well, what creeped me out when I was watching the 411 documentary was when they were talking about, there was one camper that talked about in the middle of the night, sometimes everything would just go silent. Like he wouldn't hear the crickets or whatever. Sometimes you can hear it in my live stream. If you turn down all the sound in this area, you can hear bugs galore all night. It's really loud. And this camper talked about in the middle of the night, just all of a sudden it would start back up again. Like all the critters, all the animals just going silent. Something is up and even the animals know it. Yeah. So that's what one of the campers in 411, missing 411, did you hear the recording that they showed on the film? I don't know. You know what? I thought any of this is like funny, but speaking of, that's a good movie to watch. I need to watch that again. I watched it a few years ago, so I don't remember the recording. Always go with a gun camping or no? I was always afraid of bears. That was my big thing. Please link these topics. Yes, I will have to. After. You missed the... Oh, friendliest people on the Grand Canyon Trail. Silence means predators around. Okay, now I have a story about, yes, I'll try to do that for you. Now I have a story about some people being creeped out by national forests. So here it goes. And it starts with TikTok, but I promise it's not a TikToker. Thank you so much, Kelly. Boo. My whiskers are not very even tonight, but okay, let's read this creepy story. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, thank you so much, Lance. Girlfriend, what's she talking about? Me, ghosts and missing campers. You're taking the mutt out tonight, girlfriend. Oh God, I didn't get to read that. Whoops. We're talking about really big, important stuff over here. Oh, but I have something for you. Meow. In a viral TikTok video from May, Becca Goldman explains that a global trend of missing persons inside heavily forested areas around the world. The video has more than 14.3 million views. Now she's diving deep on the subject in a new TikTok series. Why is it about TikTok? Okay, forget that it's about TikTok. I do think she's on to something. So she says, we're not seeing it in the news because it's not really being talked about much at all. Why would they tell you? It's just another thing that you'd be afraid of. And they want your money to go into the national park so that you pay the fees and go and camp and hike. Okay, she's got a point here. So So this girl who's diving into all these people that go missing in national parks, she's saying, you know, they're not talking about it on the media because they don't want you to stop going to the parks and spending your money. They don't want to scare you. According to the New York Post, 600,000 American... Oh, I thought that was just in parks. Okay. According to the New York Post, 600,000 Americans go missing every year, but 92% are found, dead or alive. However, the Post, how many of those disappear in the wild is unclear. Neither the Department of the Interior, which oversees the National Park Service, or the Department of Agriculture keeps track of it. That's what we just talked about. They don't keep track of who goes missing inside the national parks. In 2017, as Strange Outdoors notes, there were more than 4,000 search and rescue incidents reported in U.S. national parks. That seems like a lot. 92% are found dead or alive. So 8% are never found, whoever. Am I back? Okay. Okay, I'm back. I buffered again. Okay. This is so annoying. I don't know why it's so bad tonight. This... I saw it as soon as it did that. Ugh. As a fan of the national parks herself, Goldman hopes that by talking openly about what is going on inside the parks, more people will understand how little is known about what happens deep inside the forest, even within the USA. I just want to say that I'm not trying to derail the conversation about how scary the U.S. national parks are, because they are. But this is not a U.S. problem. It is a global problem. We have no idea what exists inside heavily wooded areas. Oh, she's taking this conversation to a different level. Goldman continues by telling viewers that her experiences traveling in Australia and the Philippines, coming across tribal groups that live far from any neighboring cities or towns. Oh. We had been in the middle of nowhere for a while and a person completely naked sprinted across the road in front of us. This person was a pale white and blood red eyes. We don't know what's out there. Oh gosh. So, Sarah, I'm surprised there is not law to keep track of missing persons in the park. No, that's how Russia has a huge problem with murders in desolate areas. Well, if you think about, I didn't even think about that, but that story took a different turn than what I was expecting. But if you go in certain countries, there are definitely like indigenous tribes in all kinds of countries all around the world. So if you're deep within like a desolate area going camping, it kind of makes sense that somebody would stumble upon something. They are protesting Bigfoot. Yeah, but I mean, that was a huge point of the documentary 411, is that they don't keep track of this stuff. And you think about it, why wouldn't they keep track? That doesn't make any sense to me. We keep track of everything so much. Do you know park police have jurisdiction in DC? I did not know that. China has a huge problem with people disappearing in cities. Yes, they do. Within the legality of national parks, they don't legally have to... Okay, so it says within the legality of national parks, they don't legally have to report missing people. So if somebody goes missing in a national park, the national park itself legally does not have to report that person as missing. This is because the National Park Service leaves tracking missing people to local law enforcement. I think that's what I heard, that I think some of these things get lost in the shuffle because they report it to local law enforcement. Retired police officer David Politis reportedly submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to obtain the National Park Service list of unsolved missing person cases for his book of missing persons, and was told that he would be charged $1.4 million in fees, according to National Parks Traveler. After the viral reaction to Goldman's first video, so this is the girl that was discussing this on TikTok about the national parks, she decided to create a TikTok series called, oh, this is clever. This is clever. I'm going to watch it later. Okay, so this girl created a TikTok series called Are You Afraid of the Park? This is why I know all of you make fun of TikTok, and there's plenty to make fun of, trust me. Most of it, 95% of it, is cringy, inappropriate. But there are some of these creators make really cool things. That was a way cool idea by her. Are you afraid of the park? In which she discusses many different instances in which visitors went missing inside different U.S. national parks. Each of Goldman's videos in the series chronicles a different victim who went missing in a national park. Okay, so her video series explores what's happening in our national parks, and each little 3-minute video focuses on one person and one person's story that went missing. That was very clever. I wish I thought of it. Well, I think that's actually really cool. Kelly has a carry permit. I just have a ninja star. Australia has good ghost stories. I'll have to look at Australia ghost stories. Hold on, national. Did somebody say I scare them? Yes, okay, so here it is. There is no database of how many people go missing in national parks every year, but the National Park Service has at least 29 cold cases of people who have gone missing and have yet to be found, with the oldest case dating back to 1958. I scare a lot of people. Wow. Okay. So there's another documentary called National Park Mysteries, Disappearances. So there's that. Well, I didn't expect that. The Bermuda Triangle, that's another thing that's a huge mystery. And I have traveled in the Bermuda Triangle times because I used to go on cruises a lot. Not anymore. Bermuda Triangle. Oh, I can tell you guys something. So I never told you, but I did have a double life for a weekend. And if I can find pictures, I'll post them on my community tab. They say people walked into a portal. I've heard that too, Bermuda Triangle. I've also heard that it could be a magnetic thing that pulls certain things down or messes with compasses and does all kinds of stuff like that. Yes, I had a double life for one weekend. I went here in Virginia and I worked at a haunted house for a weekend. I worked Friday night and Saturday night, and they put a bunch of makeup on me. I'll put the pictures in my community tab if I can find them. If I can find the pictures, they're in my phone somewhere, but I'll put them on the community tab. They put all this makeup on me, and that is so cool, Sarah. Haunted houses are so fun. It was. So this was a haunted forest. It's called Creepy Hollow. So you can look it up on the neighborhood. I don't work there anymore. I only did it for one weekend. It's called Creepy Hollow in Virginia, and it's a haunted forest. And people come, and there's like a concession area, and they sit around a campfire, and they're told scary stories about the forest. And then they go in the forest, and that's where all the hauntings are. Well, I was the first scary person they saw in the forest. So I had all of this makeup on me. I looked like Edward Scissorhands, actually, if you can imagine that. But I had all this makeup on me and a costume. I don't know what I was. I looked like Edward Scissorhands. So that's what I looked like. I don't know what I was just a weird looking person. And so what I would do is I was there like right when they came into the forest. So there's basically like there's a forest. Since we're talking about forests, there's a forest, and then there's like a huge trail in the forest, and all along the trail there are different haunts and all of these things. Salad fingers. I didn't have the hands. It was just the way that they did my makeup looked like Edward Scissorhands. And all the people I worked with were so young. Most of them were like 16 years old, and then there was me. So I was like, you guys, I look like Edward Scissorhands, and half of them had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, you haven't seen Edward Scissorhands? You're missing out on life if you haven't seen that movie. It is a weird movie, but it's definitely a good movie. You should see it. But I was the person, as soon as they came into the forest, I had a button in my hand, and I would press the button, and something across from me would go like, brah! It was this machine that would scare them. And then I was behind them, so they were distracted by this machine. And then they walked a few more feet, and I was hiding behind a tree, and then I would jump out and scare them. And that's what I did for a whole weekend. It was so much fun. I've seen it. It was cute, but I don't like Johnny Depp. Yeah, I don't like him that much more. I don't like him that much either. But yeah, it's a good movie. Ever done Edward 40 Hands? Lance, I do know what Edward 40 Hands is. So if you guys have never been a crazy college student, I have never done Edward 40 Hands. So we're talking about Edward Scissorhands. So college kids will do Edward 40 Hands, where basically this is a terrible idea. Don't ever do it. It's a terrible idea. Basically, you take 240 ounces of alcohol. Why are we even talking about this? Don't ever do this, okay? No one listen to me. So Edward 40 Hands is you take 240 ounces of probably malt liquor, I don't know, a 40 ounce of alcohol, and you duct tape it to your hands, and you're not allowed to take the 40s off of your hands until you're finished drinking them. Don't ask me how I know that. I've never played that game. I do not recommend playing that game. It's a dumb game. That's what Edward 40 Hands is. Yeah, Kelly says I like that game. I'd be drunk. But yeah, even if you have to figure out how to go to the bathroom, you have to figure out how to do things. You're not allowed to take them off until both of them are... David says, I like that. David says, don't try it at home. Go to your neighbor's house and do it. Don't try that at home. Ask me how I won Edward. Okay, Lance, how did you win Edward 40 Hands? Oh my gosh. This is going downhill. This is why we should never go longer than an hour. How do you go to the bathroom while playing Edward 40 Hands? Depends. Simple, wear a diaper. Oh, Lance, too much information. Now we know how Lance won Edward 40 Hands. Have you ever been to a live showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Oh, this is turning fun. Okay, so I guess we're doing Q&A now. Okay, so Glenn just asked if I had ever been to a live showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So if you guys don't know, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's like it has a huge cult following, right? And at a lot of theaters, they'll do like midnight showings of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's a huge cult thing. Like there's signs throughout the movie, like if this comes on, everyone throws toilet paper at the screen, like everyone's saying all the lines, like singing all the songs, doing all the dances. So yes, I went to one live Rocky Horror Picture Show viewing. And live means there's like actors there too, and they're introducing the film. It's like, it's a whole thing. And I think you can drink in some of them. But I went to one, and as soon as I walked in, they asked me if I was a Rocky Horror Picture Show virgin or something. And I was like, yeah, I've never been here before. So they took lipstick and put a big red X on my forehead. And they marked my friend and I. So when we went in, we were the ones that had never been there before. And there's a certain song in the movie. Yes, that was on my forehead. There's a certain song in the movie where you have to like show who you are, who are the ones that had never been there before. It was pretty wild. Does Depends have an endorsement deal with Brandon? They should. Yes, they basically put a bullseye on our head. They were like, these are the people that have never been here before. Glenn says, I remember that part. It was an experience. I saw that at a theater, a really old theater in Denver, Colorado. It starts with an E, like the E Theater Denver. Not the Equinox Theater, that's a gym. What's it called? Not the Oriental Theater. I don't know. It started with an E, but it was a really cool, old, kind of historic theater. I'm sure that Secret Service know all about Brandon's diaper needs. But it was quite an experience. I did get a little mad sometimes because everyone was talking over the film, but that's honestly why you go. You go to hear all the people like talking and laughing with the film and stuff like that. Which of the Secret Service agents with tactical diaper bags? Edward 40 Hands. They sing along. Yes, they do sing along. And they talk with all the words in the movie. But it was fun. And you just have to stay up till midnight. Because the one I went to, they do a lot of showings at midnight. They did Rocky Horror Picture Show. And they did, I've never seen this movie, but they did Clockwork Orange a lot. They did The Room. I think that has sort of a cult following. Yes. I think they should do... Oh, Bryce, thank you so much. That's very sweet. Bravo. Thank you, Bryce. Halloween is my birthday, so thanks. Oh, happy birthday on Halloween. Kelly says, I love Clockwork Orange. I have not seen that yet. The college show started at midnight. The college show. That's so fun. I miss that stuff. Depends is Biden's Secret Service name. Yes, happy birthday. The president is in need of a Secret Service. The Secret Service. You know the Secret Service. Happy birthday, Thorn. Very secret. Meatloaf did great in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I will say, I think the first time I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I think I saw it too young. I don't know where my parents were, and it was kind of creepy to me when I saw it really, really young. I also love Casper. I know that's a kid's movie, but my grandma took me to see that, I think, when I was really, really little. I love that movie. I didn't like Clockwork, too brutal. Somebody said, very dark movie, but with a deep meaning. Remember they threw rice in the theater? Oh, yes, I remember the rice. So in Rocky Horror Picture Show, they threw rice. They threw toilet paper. I can't remember what else they threw. There was something else, and I do not remember. But I for sure remember the toilet paper. And then there were a few dances where everyone got crazy. Meatloaf originally walked out of Rocky and had to be talked back. Ooh, I didn't know that. My mom is a huge Meatloaf fan. It was fun but messy. Sarah, do you know a scary story or a scary joke? I sort of, let me think if I know like a really scary story. Damn it, Janet, I love you. Ah! I do have, so there were, yes, and Brad. Oh, that's a good one. The creepiest thing I think that ever happened to me that I can't explain, a scary story, you're in one, just look at our president. The creepiest thing that ever happened to me was probably my dad's glasses, although I wouldn't say that that was a scary story. There were a lot of urban legends around where I grew up. We had water thrown during, what do you call a big prejudiced scary clown? A bigot. There are a lot of scary stories around where I grew up. For instance, my sister's boyfriend growing up, where his house was, so if you grow up in the South and you just walk in the woods sometimes, speaking of the woods, you'll see grave sites like everywhere. Because a lot of Civil War soldiers would just be like randomly buried in certain areas, and a lot of families too, like back in the day, they would just bury their family members on their property. So sometimes you'll just walk in the woods and you'll see like 10 graves out of nowhere. And my sister's boyfriend in high school lived, his house used to be a Civil War orphanage. And across the street from his house was one of those graveyards. There were probably about like 10 graves, and they were soldiers. And that kind of happens in the South. Everywhere you go, like, oh, not everywhere, but, you know, soldiers were marching there, or a lot of stuff happened back in the day. And they used to have sightings in that house of like a little girl kicking a red ball, and I don't know if any of this is true. These are just the stories I heard growing up about his house, because it was the orphanage, and clearly there was a lot of death in that area because of the Civil War and all of that. So they talked about the red ball, like seeing kids in the area, like sometimes hearing scratching and like hissing, and I don't know what that was. I know of a handful of MO rebel graveyards. Oh yeah, Kelly lives in Tennessee. Even where I live here, I'm close to Cold Harbor Battleground. Like actually probably where I live, there were probably soldiers marching back and forth where I live. But I'm really close to a place called Cold Harbor Battleground or Battlefield. And there was actually a pretty bloody battle on that field. And when you go hiking in it, it's pretty cool, because I'll go there to go walking sometimes. When you go hiking in it, and you go in the woods, we're talking about the woods, but you'll see there's still trenches. There are trenches that they call them something else. I can't remember what they call them, but they're basically like little trenches that the soldiers dug up when they were fighting, because there was a huge Cold Harbor battle was right there. And you can still see them. So if you go on the trails in the woods, and they have signs, they're like, please don't touch. We want to preserve these areas. But it's pretty cool to see that. It's pretty crazy to look at that and think, oh my gosh, there was a battle being fought just years ago. Daughter of Cold Harbor. Actually, you know what? Somebody just said daughter of Cold Harbor, and if you know, there's a Daughters of the Revolution. So I actually can. Here's a story for you. I actually can join is it the Daughters of the Revolution? But there's a huge building in Washington, D.C. There's the Daughters of the Confederacy. Hold on. There's Daughters of the Revolution. But I can join that if I wanted to. DAR. Until they're canceled. I know. Okay, Daughters of the American Revolution. So if I wanted to join, I actually can. So you have to have a family member that's a member. And the reason that I can join is because one of my ancestors, so if anyone ever tries to come after me for whatever, this or that, my ancestors did, this is what I can say to them. So half of my family is from Italy. And if you go to Ellis Island, if you look on the books, my name, Sansoni, is on the books in Ellis Island, and that's one half of my family immigrating here from Italy. The other half of my family was here, and one of my family members fought in the Civil War, and he fought for the Yankees. He fought for the North, and he was actually shot in the arm in the Battle of Antietam. And on my phone, if I can put these things up, I'll try to work on this tomorrow and put all these pictures up of what we're talking about in the community section. But I have a newspaper clipping, a picture of it in my phone. So my ancestor, he fought in the Civil War for the Yankees, was shot in the arm in the Battle of Antietam. He saw his wound, so he started going to the medic tent where they took care of wounds. And if you know how they did it back in the day, bye Jan. Is Jan leaving? Thomas Jefferson is my answer. Bye Jan. Thank you. What part of it? Bye Jan. Thank you so much for joining. If you're still here, I see people saying bye, and I want to scratch my face, but I'm going to spread everything. What part of Italy? My family is from an area called Ascoli, Italy. If you look at the Italian map, it's right in the middle. So if you look at where Rome is, it's just right across the continent from Rome on the other side of the continent. Women nurses would treat the wounded. Yes, well, you would go to the medic tent, and if you had a limb that was wounded with that kind of wound, many times it would just be, they would maybe give you a shot of whiskey and a bullet to chew on, and they would take it off. And my ancestor saw a pile of limbs. This is the family story. Sarah, do you belong in the mob? Yes. Do I not look like I belong in the mob? No anesthesia. Your anesthesia was the bullet to chew on and a shot of whiskey. That was your anesthesia, whiskey. Eva, the cow. Me and Eva. They call me the silencer. Anyway, yes, nobody cross me, or you might get patted. Well, anyway, so he saw this pile of limbs, which is what they did back in the day, and he ran away. He got scared, and the legend is he put his arm in a stream for a few days, and then his wound healed, and he didn't have to get it taken off. Or his wound healed on his arm, and he didn't have to get his arm taken off. That's the legend. Whacked. Whacked. That sounds like what they depicted at the start of Dances with the Wolves. Thank you for cool story. Yeah, I hope it's true. But there's a newspaper clipping about it, so I'll put it in my community page. Sounds like a Monty Python skit. It's true. Yeah, that's what the mob called a hit. Ooh, I have another story for you. Okay, so this might be a mob story, and then I have to go. That's the last story. Sansoni is a stage name, correct? No, it's my real name. It's Italian. It's actually even rare in Italy. I don't know where it comes from, but it's so rare in the US that a lot of the Sansonis I might be related to. One time, I'm from the East Coast. I grew up in Georgia, and my extended family lives in Pennsylvania, right? So we're all Pennsylvania and Georgia, and now Virginia, and that's it. And then there's me off in California. Well, I was living in Denver, Colorado, and I went to the mall, and I was checking out at, I think it was like a Banana Republic or something like that. Who knows where it was, but it was one of those mall stores. And I was purchasing a shirt, and the person wanted to see my ID with my credit card. So I gave her my ID, and she saw my last name, and she goes, "Oh, Sansoni. That's interesting. I went to college with a guy, his last name was Sansoni." And I was like, "Where did you go to college?" And she goes, "Oberlin in Ohio. I have a cousin that went to Oberlin in Ohio." And I was like, "What's his name?" And she goes, and she said his first name. I obviously don't want to tell you who my cousin is, but she said his first name. And I was like, "Yeah, that's my cousin." That's how rare my last name is. That all the way in the middle of the United States, I made a connection by just my last name. Yeah. Yeah, all from the last name. But if you're a Smith, that's probably not going to happen to you. I can't remember what I was even talking about before that. At all. All right, I think that's everything that we have. This was a longer one. I liked it. I think we were on for, I love Italian. I think we were on for like an hour, over an hour and 30 minutes. Okay, everyone, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you had fun. I had fun. Okay, great. I'm glad you had fun. Next time, I'll fix my camera the next time so I'm not TikTok style. So have a wonderful Halloween. You were going to play Werewolves of London. What is that? Kelly, what is Werewolves? Great chat, Sarah. Love you. Oh, thank you, Morris. Thank you, Kelly. Watch the movie, please. Which movie again? Werewolves of London? American Werewolf in London. Oh, I have seen that, I think. Maybe I'll watch it again. You don't know Werewolves of London? No? Oh, it's a song. Hold on a second. It's a song? I'm looking it up. Oh, I'm looking up Werewolves of London. Oh, that looks easy. I might have to... Oh, thank you, Kelly, so much. I might have to... Hold on, I'm going to play it on here, but I feel like my screen's going to mess up. That looks super easy. I found the... Oh, it won't play. Wait. It won't play right now. I'll have to look at that, but I just looked at the chords. I want to see that movie, I think. I'll have to look at the chords. Because I can play that. I just don't know how it goes. Okay. I'm going to look at the chords for that, Kelly. It's just not going right now. I could play it. I just don't know how it goes. Okay, I will do that next time. I'm looking at the chords.
Do a D5. What you're going to do is you're going to take your pointer finger, 2nd fret, C string, middle finger, 2nd fret, A string, pluck, release the middle finger and pluck again. Bop, bop. Now usually after I pluck that one, I don't let it ring, I put these fingers right back down, right? Part 2, middle finger, your pointer finger's going to be on the 3rd fret and your...
Okay, I'll have to learn this.
Okay, so with that lick, oops, with the lick, without the lick. Alright, Werewolves of London, 10thumbspro.com, Patreons, print out your PDF and rock it out. It is in the key of...
Okay, I'll have to learn. That actually looks like a really good song. I wasn't playing that, Glenn. I was listening to it. Ben Shapiro did a review on it. Don't go around tonight. A bad moon is on the rise. I'm staying home. Listen to the actual song. You'll like it. Okay, I'm going to listen to that. All right. Bad moon rising is awesome. Okay, no one go out tonight. Now we know. It's cool. It's like, it's 9 o'clock here on a Saturday. That's my, I stay home on Saturdays. All right, thank you so much, everyone. That was really fun. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Steve. Okay, I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta go too. It's a quote from a song. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, bye, you all. Have a good night. See you later. Bye.